when that happens, that I touch. And I don't know what it is yet. But figure it out. I don't usually when I do something like this, top here, gonna slide. There we go. Turn it on. Oh goodness. Okay. Thanks to even know that. So yeah, I should have got this in order. But yeah, I have some um lot of things over here. I've been sewing a lot in the last well, I'm sorry, I haven't been sewing a lot. I think I said I've been sewing a lot. I've been sewing a lot. I've been making a few items and then I haven't been working on this one thing that I need to work on. It's time for it to get done and it is a massive project. Okay. Seems like I've waited and waited and I shouldn't wait anymore because I do know that this is supposed to be like a Christmas gift. And I know Christmas is a few months away. Just only 3 months away. Oh Lord. Anyway, that seems like a lot, but that's not. Okay, because I have a few orders that are pending that I also need to get done. Um, wait, let me do that. Okay. Let's see here. I'll do the sewing after I get some things ironed or under, okay? Because I have 300 pieces. 300 pieces, okay? And so the first thing was let me do this. And so we're going to see what we're doing here. We started on this last year, by the way. Okay. And I got these done pretty quickly. I had them done pretty quickly. Once they told me they didn't need it until this year, I kind of slowed down on it. Like it, because there is in a portion that is going to be very time consuming and kind of expensive. Okay. So I've already gotten paid for what I've done so far. And so this is $1,000 project, by the way. Here you go. Yes, it is. All of it doesn't go to me because I think I'm gonna send it out to be quoted. I'm not sure if I'm gonna send it out to be quoted. When I say send it out to be quoted, uh, show me 5 of these. I want them to be light blue. Let's go for a purple. I'm gonna show you how this goes. So we're gonna put one there, there, middle, there, and there. And then we put a white one here, a white here, here, a white one here. And if I want that to be different, let me think about it. If I put you there, put you there, that would be more white. But I think I don't want it like that. I think I want it um so I'm doing 9 pets. Mm, I gotta check to see because I do have a so wait a minute, I know how to figure it out. So I'm gonna have in there, in there, in there. It's gonna be whites around and then they're gonna be colored here. And then I think I want the color in the center. Or do I want the color on the it's just like that? Or do I want white there? I have to figure this out. How do I know this one goes like this, so let's do this one first. I just need two. Let's do the first one. We'll figure out what I want the other ones to be. We'll put a green here. Is there? Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use all of these and we're gonna add some whites to it. I want those, I want those. Oh, I would like blue. My white's been cut. Right. I need, how many do I need? I need, two, three. If I'm correct, it's 3 on 1 row, but I'm not doing 6. 6 by 6 or 5 by 5. I need to look at my which column, but if, if I'm doing, I think I'm doing 6 by 5. 6. That means 1 row would be 3, 1 row would be 4. Right? So Looks like we got some reds, or some regular greens. Put you there, there. Mm, 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 mm. Light blue, dark blue, gray. I got whatever was on it. I think I had 109 of these in total. And I think I have 90 of these in total. It's one of my favorite colors right here, this khaki color. Like it. Oh, so what? Yeah, but me, I'm trying to get one of each color. And then I'll start on some missing blue. This is light blue. I have a light blue. I'm missing dark blue. I'm missing this teal here. And I have a purple here. Like this color too. It knows. Um, much. And I give it a read. I see red here. Six rows. Because I don't need maybe maybe 30 of these. We're gonna start with these and we'll put these away. I just want to make sure I got one of all the ones I really blue, red, dotted green. I see that. Let's grab that. Blue, pink. grab food. I do have an, you know, and then I do see another pink. Pink. Hmm. So I want to make an orange, which I don't think I have, but I will make you if I need some more. What you have? I cannot lose any of those. Okay. Do I have the dark blue? I have the dark blue right here. And you have one of these right here. Let me try. Grab onions after I get them on. Skip. Right, you can have a green right here. Normally, go in. No, yeah, but the meat going on top on this. So we're gonna go with okay. Oh, Bobby. Oh, no. Okay, so we're going to do this. We want to just tilt green, then both. No, I wanted to the O3. So make this 1.8. Confusing. I don't really need to do that, but we'll wait the time. Go here, Augusta, Georgia. And if you remember, right here, go here in Augusta, Georgia. And if you remember, right here is where Michael Tarrant where hold Georgia Transparency. Yeah, we'll be going here and check things out and see if they learned. If y'all watch Georgia Transparency's channel, you know that Mr. Michael Tarrant, he uh he was arrested for observing report. I'm a police officer, sir. I am a Valley police officer in the state of Georgia. Okay. You will be arrested. Identifying yourself as police officer. Riverdale Police. Sir, you need to leave. Stop up. You are on private property violating civil laws. Arrest me. Arrest me. You cannot do. No, you cannot. Hey, he just said it. You can't. Seen the sunblock? I'm teaching it like to get everything about your racing. You're simply just saying about getting bulletproof there. Beyond ordinary tune-ups, Boltonizations restore your AC to like new specs. Keeps you cool all summer. Can't beat a Boltonization. So what did Kelly say? Something about me not looking cool. Point taken. He's my brother too. He's my brother Mike. Together, we're both brothers. No. Going to take a case on, we're going to make sure that we put not only 110% effort into it, and what we're need, but it's also financial. We're going to hire the best experts. We're going to hire the best investigators. We're going to spend the money on all aspects of the case to go toe to toe with the Fortune 100 companies, because that's not only the right thing to do, that's what's necessary to win these types of cases. And that's where Esquire Bank has come into play for our firm. I believe he was charged with a felony. See in there? That says restricted authorized employees only. We got a something here. Check it out. Let's see the American flag flying for the post office. It is a lot. Services. He's taking a few good ones. So, I don't. Oh, yeah, Ashley. And what was your name? I'm sorry. Are you with the legal services? No, with financial services. Oh, okay. What's your name? I'm sorry. Candace Law. Thank you. They're short.
Sure, I'll be there in just a minute. I'll be there in just a minute. No, no, I think she was. Yeah, she was helping me. Yeah, security was locked up, so. Sweet. Yeah, that's a pretty table. That's an older table. Hmm. Oh, okay. Have a nice day. There it is. It's not really prominently displayed. Hmm. Oh, he says, well, they were locked up. What it is? Do you got the show? No, no, no. Fine. Just taking a little tour. So, what was your name, sir? Herbert Davis, secure safety manager. Oh, you feel safe? Hey, I'm definitely sitting. Security's right over here. Oh, yeah, yeah. I saw it. Yeah. Thanks. So they're open. I just called. Oh, okay. Cool. So we'd like to have all that business stopped by security before they. Is it a policy or a law? No, it's policy. Oh, okay. I don't care about policy. Yeah, I don't care about policy. Yeah. If it's a law, though, I'll follow law. Okay. Yeah. So God bless. Have a nice day. Likewise. Thank you. Information technology, information pharmacy. Yes, so you need smoke free, tobacco free. Oh, my damn, it's excuse me. Hi, you good? You need any help? No, no, just taking some pictures. Okay, you can't take pictures inside. Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I'm not coming in. Okay, so you need to. Mark, have you been to the security desk yet? Do I need to? Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, do you know where it's at? I do. Okay. Please stop by there. Oh yeah. Talk to them. Yeah. I want to find out about what's going on. You know. Oh yeah. If it's open to the public, then it's open to the public, right? Well, this is the hospital ground. Right, but it's open to the public. Is that policy or is that law? Let's do it. Uh-oh. Why are you stirring things up? I'm in public, sir. We all work here. Okay, that's good for you. We're housed here. Okay. That need to be in safe environment. Oh, but you keep that in private, right? No, we don't keep anything in private, but really, you keep everything. You keep private information in public? You check you go anywhere you want to go without checking in. Is this America? This is. Oh, okay, good. But this is a right. I have a form that said yeah. I guess we went to Nazi Germany. So just stand by. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Who are you? You employee? Yes. Oh, what's your name? My name. For great deals and low rates, check out the Mazda Morton sales kit happening now. As well as Airline. Say with you. Units for 90 days. Only at Heritage Mazda Bel Air. Steve's buddy, Steel Beach Clicking. Don't want to wake up. That's why I'm so slow. Okay. I want him to wake up. So she could be. Wow. And try my best not to disturb him. This has to work. I guess if people are scared, huh? She's calling security now. He don't want to identify himself. Huh? More. Calling security already. How important.
That's the dispatch hill. Good morning. This is from East Central Regional Hospital. I had an officer over here. We have people you can be going around the counter. You can pictures and video patients, and that's not allowed. We already told them that, and they're being a little bit training people. I'm sorry. What was the check again? These are East Central Regional Hospital. Yeah, but yeah, go check. Your tab is yes, it's 100 Middle Boulevard, Myrtle Beach, M1R, Philly. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Boulevard. Cool or hot? The hot. Okay, what was the problem? Was it you said it was a male? Okay, there's few people walking around the campus for different locations, taking videos and taking pictures. There's one female going to the finance office, another one going to the switchboard, and I have one here in the campus of the security, and he is being searched for. He don't have no weapons, but he's verbal. Verbal. He's getting very verbal. Yes. And a white male with polo kind of wide and then and another one with a hat with black and white shirt. And he said, another white male with a black shirt and khaki pants and well. So there is a female going around in a blue, white female with a blue shirt. Mm-hmm. And they're walking on campus. Yeah, the leader put them and everything. They go into the window doing that. To the window, I don't know. What time? Maybe I don't do. What type of vehicle they arrived in? No, ma'am. Like, there's a few white female with knee shorts. Another white female? Yes. Blue t-shirt. So it's another white female. They're right in front of security right now. They're there. What mentioned, we don't see anything. Like I said, they have what there with the cell phones and somebody has like a camera type thing, but it's not really like like a professional camera. It's just one of those. And there's nothing in purple. It's with the telephone on their phone side. And so routine is the cell phone. Now we'll see. Sorry.
Just verbal in America.
Mm-hmm.
Verbal, well, yeah, they say people when you they be verbal.
All right, so you want to then watch this, take it down. I think appreciate it.
Well, public property. That's right. Are they doing a drive-by? Oh, here he goes. I want to get this. This ought to be interesting. Oh, that's security. Oh, yeah, I know, but still, I'm sure they're still gonna. They always like to run their mouth about stuff they don't understand. The cars are a little bit better fixed. Department in recent. You know why the police are? Do you know why y'all got me called Richmond County Sheriff's Office? You see that sign on the camera standpoint? That's no camera. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, we're trying to talk to you that we're gonna be life right? But you guys are public. Oh, is there a law? The sign is on the camera. Well, so I've already been told the policy. Yeah, it's in a law. What that yeah. Yeah, I don't try to give me. I'm not trying to get to some story. We can go to my mind. Well, there's Richmond County right there. This, that's picture that. Oh, I am. Look at code. You look at it. Oh yeah, I definitely will. Oh yeah, I definitely will. You're very good. Look out now. Yeah, definitely will. Wow. Okay. I got you. You feel?
Yes, fine. This is
Have you or a loved one been injured by sticker shock this summer? Are you pouring water all over yourself just to keep cool because the administration's clean energy cuts have made your power bills unaffordable? Have tariffs driven your umbrella prices so high that you're forcing your kids to hold a bedsheet over you at the beach? Are you secretly living at the office because the war with Iran has made your commute cost more than your paycheck? Don't suffer in silence. Much offices, bigger shopping, so yes, this administration's policies are making your summer more expensive.
and from Central Regional. Your patrol just came in but didn't come to the security office. He's running around the bank when he's the people that have people who take pictures, they can there's like people doing or run about pictures. There's usually people that they're by the entrance. I'm standing outside and I'm seeing your patrol going to the bank, but not coming over here. Or no, but you turned off. Thank you, appreciate it. Oh, lady, here at the morning. Thank you for showing up. I'm nice to see you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you, heights and everything for taking pictures in public. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, hi.
How you doing, sir?
What's your name, sir? Barnett. What's your ID number or a badge number?
You got your ID on you?
I do.
Yes, it is.
Can I see? Can I get your badge number, sir?
Let's do a swap. I'll give you my driver's license. You give me yours.
Hey, we looked it up. All it is trespass. Has nothing to do with that recording.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with recording.
No trespass. Code 5, code section, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go in there. Y'all got restricted area, but we can stay out here and record. For what? Because I can. I say we can. I didn't say it. I said for what? So because I want to. Okay. I don't think it's How you doing, sir? Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, are we allowed to take pictures in public out here? Did you speak with anyone in? No, I just want to know. I just want to take some pictures in the public area. I've been here before, and I was assaulted and hit by y'all's last captain, Michael Tarrant. And
You remember him?
kind of acting the same. And so I'm a little kind of scared of this captain here now because she's got the law enforcement involved because y'all want to try and keep me off of public property. And then y'all statue out here is for criminal trespass.
Has nothing to do with cameras.
Has nothing to do with taking pictures in public. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that already. I thought. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do. Let's see what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Go back out.
Yeah, what was your name, sir? Yeah, nice to meet you.
My name's Russ, sir. Thank you, sir.
I'm Lana. Nice to meet you. I appreciate the professionalism. Yeah, I appreciate the professionalism. I like the Richmond County in there. Yeah.
Maybe you ought to be at this.
Ooh, feel that bird crap. Seattle. You got a computer out. 1:30.
Oh, thank y'all for coming. Oh, good.
Good, you?
Thank y'all for coming to support our rights from taking pictures in public. I really appreciate it. Okay. I'm going to upload all those today.
What's your name, sir?
No,
Deputy Ren, do you have an ID or badge number? You don't have any IDs or anything that can identify you? It's Deputy Ren. I mean, but what's the badge number? It didn't have a number on it. You don't have an ID number or anything?
No, you have an idea.
Oh, what's that? Yeah, what's the employee number? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being professional. Yeah, what's your name, sir? Mitchell. And what's your ID number? He just gave me his, so. Like I said, you have an employee ID. Thank you so much. Y'all are way more professional than this guy here.
Hope y'all are. I mean, I'm sure y'all.
They're trying to quote a statute, but it's and we looked it up and all it is. There's a sign out there with a statute on it, but we looked it up and all it has to do with criminal trespass and has nothing to do with video. Yeah, this is all public property. I'm not going anywhere. Like you see how they have the authorized restricted. I never went in there. Never went in. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes you never know what you got to get with the box of chocolates when y'all step out. I appreciate that. You're definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
But everybody doesn't know.
I agree.
Look at she's wasting y'all's time.
Yeah, she really is. Catching actual criminals. She's catching not law abiding citizens.
She's rapists and all that stuff. Y'all can
Mm-hmm.
Once y'all can hear y'all are here messing with messing. Well, I ain't gonna say y'all are violating our rights.
No. Yeah. Oh, of course.
To protect our rights.
Oh, of course. Y'all done great jobs.
Y'all would never violate the rights of
That's the young now. Oh, they got both on the top there. Oh, was that what they saying? Uh-huh.
So, Grandis.
Ah,
Put that out and jump the car off.
nice.
The old slave tables on the Humvees.
Oh, yeah.
Humvees.
Yeah.
Jump them off.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, he's inside. Yeah. Y'all have body cams running? Oh, perfect. Awesome. Scott, sir. Oh,
No, sir.
yeah, he seems like he's kind of, what's the word? Tyrant-esque.
No problem, sir. About you. I don't like this and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot cooking in the world. Trump's taking away our health care, making housing unaffordable. But we've got a fighter in Dover, Frank Cook, building affordable housing and making life easier for our families. That's Frank. We gotta let him cook. Travel day. Wish you knew a simpler way to fly. Avelo flies from smaller airports closer to home, with nonstop flights at prices that just make sense. Now you know. And if you know, you Avelo.
She's bad.
Yeah, she is.
She's pissed.
Bye.
Hey, sir. Can we get a call number?
Can we get a call number?
Can we get a call number?
Yeah. No? No. Well, we can't, it's public information now.
Oh, you're allowed to come in. What's the verdict?
You educated him?
Oh, he's like, all right, not out with that. What the? We're good.
All right, thank you.
You can call me. All right, I'll have a good day.
What do you say?
And that's why Georgia Constitution being J. Sam Friend,
Transparency.
transparency, just.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one quick little victory lap. Yeah, get down to the flagpole, you maybe a little further and then real quick.
And I'm pretty sure you already got a get there, know the location.
Thank you, sir.
And
Absolutely. Fair. Yeah. Georgia Constitution meeting. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Post office ain't open still. It's closed. Oh, so you need to replace that sign or that flag. Yeah, I'm going to put in a couple little here and there. So the last two things we have out here. Absolutely. The next thing I think we need to work on is getting that sign down. Mm-hmm. But not only did it unlawful crime, but everybody ain't gonna look at curled up as you did. Need some serious work at the East Central Regional Hospital. Let's get like a freaking rat.
Have any legal reason to be in this man's house? I do.
We do. We have text messages.
Well, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna give her every answer. It's not clear. Right.
Yeah, everything is untrue.
Guys, this is not a good girl where we just throw in whatever we want. We have order. Now.
The court has text messages that we sent.
Andrew, please, I wanted to come forth and with all due respect, ask that due to that conflict of interest and you being on that case, I do feel very uncomfortable with you being the judge on this case, just due to the fact that you know those details. And I feel that you knowing about the past eviction and now their attorney has been brought into this case amongst others. My old landlord in this document, which was never told to me.
Well,
I do want to request a new judge.
okay, request for refusal is denied. All right, so this is an eviction notice and Kristen, Abraham Ritter is here or not?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and then Kristen Carter, where are you?
Right here.
And then where is Andrew Henry?
Right here.
Okay.
What is it? Is it Mike? What is it? Have a good day, Mr. Clarkson, isn't it, buddy? Have a good day, Mr. Goodman. You keep on. How are you doing? Good. I'm gonna hold you in contempt, okay? We're gonna give you some jail time, okay?
We go to the busy streets of Detroit for a simple traffic stop case that spirals into a 3-year ordeal. We're in the courtroom of Judge Sean Perkins, along with the defendant, Joshua Gubin. After being pulled over, Gubin was cited for 3 violations: no registration, no plates, and no insurance. Judge Perkins begins the arraignment by reading the formal charges. The difficulties begin almost immediately.
Sure. Never plates, insurance, misdemeanor. Do you have documents? Yes, I do. Here's the registration. Hold up, let's see what you have. This last paper, plan, Joshua, 1/7, that's expired. But it's still. But he sold the truck, like it's sold, but I don't know. We're taking first bought the truck. I got license right now. Stand what you're saying. Say that again. I just bought the truck when I got ticketed. And I immediately got the truck registered and fully insured right after, but I sold the truck. Do you have a vehicle in your name, sir? Now? Yeah, I do. Let's see what you have for that vehicle, registration and insurance. Okay, I have my Progressive app. You wanna send it to my email address, sir? Sure. Put my email address in the chat. I just emailed over the proof that it is my insurance policy. Unbelievable, bro. All right, let's go back on the record, Mr. Gubin. I have a insurance. That's right, policy. It's my wife and me. Right, Mr. I have an insurance policy here. The only thing about this is I don't see a valid date. Oh, God. You cannot be serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm surprised I'm not getting the same courtesy as the others. This is I'm giving you the same courtesy. Or now you showed me some proper documentation. You showed me some invalid registration first. Sir, the truck is gone, sir. The truck is stolen. It got stolen from me at gunpoint. Insurance paid me off for the truck. Okay, that is not the policy that you asked for. And you know, I'm not. And I showed you. One second, please. Don't say anything, Mr. Barry. Don't say anything, Mr. Barry. Mr. Google. What did he say? Mr. Google.
What starts as an ordinary traffic hearing quickly begins to unravel. A Michigan driver appeared before Judge Sean Perkins, expecting to resolve several traffic citations. Instead, confusion over expired registration and insurance documents creates immediate tension. The judge repeatedly asks for simple proof, but every answer seems to raise another question. As frustration grows on both sides, the conversation shifts away from paperwork and toward attitude. Viewers can already sense that this routine case is heading somewhere neither side expected, and the first major courtroom clash is only moments away.
All I was trying to say was I'm extremely sick. Listen to me. Listen to me. We're not gonna talk like this. I'm gonna talk and you're gonna listen. And I'm gonna give you an opportunity to talk. All right. So first of all, don't accuse me of not giving you the same courtesy as everybody else. Because that's absolutely not true.
Rubin insists the truck had already been sold by the time the case reached court and argues that the paperwork was no longer his problem. But the issue is whether the vehicle was registered and insured when he was pulled over, not what happened later.
Dismiss these cases, and just because you said you had insurance, let's send you straight to trial or maybe or not take the deal. I can't make you do anything, but we're trying to give you an opportunity to show me valid documentation, right? I'm trying to. And I don't see what I told you is I don't see a proper date on this insurance policy that you sent me. All right, I'm going to show you this registration that I had on the Ram, and you will see what day that ticket was issued and what day this registration was issued, which was a month or two after the ticket. So the truck was registered and plated, clearly insured after I received the tickets. So show me the insurance policy or the portion of the policy that has the expiration date. You showed me that registration. 1/7/2024. So you're asking to see a what? A valid what? It's asking to see the date on the insurance policy. You gave me an insurance policy. I have that. It has no date on it. All I showed was proof that the truck was insured, registered. All right, I'm not gonna deal with it. All right, let's set a trial date. Set a trial date. I'm trying to get this dismissed. This is literally holding me back right now. You did dismiss a big trial. Date of trial. Nice. Thanks for no, I can clear it why I'm not getting the same courtesy. Your name is Sean Perkins? Yeah, okay. That's not an excuse. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Mr. Gubin. I don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear the blabby. Just stop talking. Just gonna ask if you want to go in the breakout room. What is a breakout room? I showed all my proof. I showed the proof, Mr. Sean Perkins. What is it? Is it my, what is it? My complaint?
Have a good day, Mr. Have a good
It's my
day, Mr.
complexion, isn't it, buddy?
Have a good day, Mr.
Mr. Uneducated judge.
Have a good day, Mr. Goodman. You keep on
How are
talking
you
out of
getting
turn.
judge?
I'm gonna hold you in contempt, okay? And we're gonna give you some jail time, okay? John,
Anything else?
are you
Anything
done?
else now?
All right, I'm gonna hold him in contempt. I'm gonna give him 30 days Wayne County Jail, all right?
Right, okay.
That's, you have an absolute, you have an absolute right to a hearing
You
and
will I showed every day of documentation that I bring to, and you refuse to dismiss my stuff. Well, why is that?
Have a great day. We're not talking anymore, all right? We're done talking.
That's what I
30
thought.
days Wayne County Jail.
The hearing suddenly takes a dramatic turn. Instead of calming the situation, the defendant becomes increasingly frustrated and begins questioning the judge's fairness. Every attempt by the court to regain control only fuels more resistance. Then the conversation crosses a line. Personal accusations replace legal arguments, and the courtroom atmosphere changes instantly. What began as a dispute over documents now becomes an issue of courtroom respect. In just seconds, one emotional outburst threatens to create consequences far more serious than the original traffic violations.
Though Judge Perkins orders 30 days in jail for contempt, Gubin never turns himself in. He avoids court for more than a year, allowing these matters to lapse into warrant status. According to the judge, Gubin only returns to court after picking up multiple new cases, including an assault and battery case, and this time he appears by Zoom, represented by newly retained attorney Camilla Barkovic, who attempts to explain Gubin's behavior up to this point.
Judge, I've already articulated some of this to the court off the record, but I was just retained to represent Mr. Gubin in this matter this morning. I'm asking for an adjournment hearing so that I may obtain a copy of the transcript of the hearing that was held, where you apparently held Mr. Gubin in contempt. He does have a right to counsel in process right to obtain an accurate transcript of the hearing. I would like to obviously obtain all relevant information and then address this matter appropriately. I'm asking that you take no action today into the opportunity that I am requesting on behalf of my client. And if you'd like me to transition into the
I'll let you go ahead and
thank you. My understanding that mere traffic matters are pending before the court, at least one civil infraction, and I believe insurance misdemeanor. These incidents date back to 2022 based on my review of the register of actions. He has appeared in connection with this matter, which the court has noted. Apparently he was here last week, and you may have recognized him. But the point of the matter is, I've known Mr. Gubin for a while. He always appears as required and as instructed. I understand that the court may have a difference of opinion as it relates to that, but I would attest to that. He is a lifelong Michigan resident. He has extremely strong family support. He is a father. He has minor children, actually, one of which is visible on the Zoom as we currently sit here. He owns his own business in Wayne County and operates that business very successfully. I think when you consider factors that are relevant to a bond inquiry and are not relevant to collateral matters such as prior actions engaged in allegedly before the court, personal bond is warranted, and it's my understanding that that is what upon conviction of the only misdemeanor with which he presently stands charged, his maximum sentencing exposure is minimal. He is obviously presumed innocent at the time. And for all of those reasons, Judge, in addition to other reasons, such as his lack of any significant or substantial criminal history, which is a factor that the court shall consider when it sets bond, I think it feels warranted, and retaliation for what allegedly occurred in the past should not impact bond under any circumstance.
All right, bond, $100 cash. And I still, the order of Mr. Been still showing up because, like you articulated on the record, this, this time. He's supposed to be in person here today now. He also has a consultant battery case that he has a warrant out for his arrest for as well. But it's so important, has not only with this court, but with the other court, courts and the other judges in this courthouse that he has a failure to appear or something. So bonds, you can call us cash, and it's still ordered that Mr. could show up in person to the court for the conviction hearing. And we'll address I think the other matters, but if that's what your client chooses.
I have a comment as it relates to a cash bond. I'm asking that the court impose a cash or surety bond. My interpretation of the court rules as it relates to bond and statutory authority allow the defendant to elect whether he posts a surety or posts a cash bond. And my position is the court cannot outright prohibit a surety. So I'd ask you just to exert it.
We take it to a higher resort.
Thank you.
The consequence of voting here after contempt. The defendant never reports to serve a sentence. More than a year passes before he's back in court. Now represented by an attorney determined to reset the case. She argues for due process and highlights her client's family, business, and limited criminal history. But the judge remains focused on something else entirely. The original traffic charge second. Now the court must decide whether repeated failures comply deserve another chance.
Nearly 2 months later, the case is back with Gubin and his attorney appearing in person and making results.
Yes, good morning, Camilla Barker, the E78254, appearing on behalf of Mr. God.
I do have an offer here. Well, it's right. State and responsible. Maybe count limited access 1 to 5 for the speeding. And as charged, I'm thinking of the improper equipment.
That is correct.
And then other matters are to be dismissed. Is that correct?
That's accurate.
You want to take the deal, Mr. Gubin? Yes, Ron. Will you stipulate on behalf of your clients in the basis of the ticket as an active factual basis for that responsibility on your client's behalf?
Yes, Judge, I will.
Stipulate the probable cause for the dismissal.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to find your client responsible for the next count of limited access 1 to 5 for the speeding basis as inflation. And as charged to the improper equipment.
Thank you.
$125 for the limited access 1 to 5 and $120 for the speeding to get out of it.
Thank you, Judge.
Reinstate your fees, Charles. Anything further? We're going to take a minute, just.
I wanted to ask that you respectfully reconsider repeat the record of the hearing in question. I understand that my client's conduct may have been disruptive and disrespectful, but during this past and that occurred, that's no notification. I think it's important for you to know the circumstances under which his actions occur. So unfortunately, I was suffering from the flu extremely bad that day. He remained on Zoom for an extended period of time. I'll even attest, I have sat on Zoom for an extended period of time. Obviously, this court was its docket. This court is very accommodating. But given his illness and given his service, the office of the again. Been probably never. Again, during an extended period of time, he is not who this court may think he is. He has always been respectful, diligent in addressing all of his obligations. He's 27 years old, does not have any significant or substantial criminal history. He's married, he has 2 minor children who are absolutely beautiful. His pride and joy. He owns and operates his own business in Wayne County, specifically a gas station. His wife doesn't work. He's the sole provider for his family.
The legal strategy shifts from confrontation to damage control. With both sides back in court, negotiations finally resolve the underlying traffic violations, but the contempt finding still hangs over the defendant's future. His attorney carefully explains the circumstances surrounding the original hearing and asks the judge to reconsider. She emphasizes his illness, his responsibilities as a husband and father, and the years that have passed since the outburst. The courtroom grows noticeably quieter as everyone waits to hear whether compassion will outweigh accountability.
The court revisits the history of the case, including Gubin's failures to appear, the contempt finding, the arguments from counsel about fairness and due process. Judge Perkins makes clear that the issue isn't paperwork or procedure, but repeated defiance of court orders. And then, for the first time since the original outburst nearly 18 months prior, Gubin himself speaks to the judge.
So I want to start off with an apology. I apologize for my actions. They were totally uncalled for that day. I made some terrible misjudgments. And I don't want to try to defend anything I said that day because there's nothing to defend. I'll just bring it all. These were misunderstood that day, and the documents that I was showing, it was misunderstood, and I lost my cool because I was there. And it's just a terrible mistake I made, and I regret it deeply. And one document is part of it, so that it's a dick that, or part of the dick sheet. Trick fraud. He could have said this. We all have insurance policies and we need our documents. And I have page 3 of 4 of them. And I think the intention of sending these pages because we knew that if he sent me the pages that we were actually looking, it would have had to come. Secondly, I don't. I wasn't misunderstood about it. So, I don't know why you were so misunderstood. I thought it was very clear in the effort of what we were trying to do here. Whether you say it's sickness or anything, I take the uneducated comment as a racial control. You know, like I don't, you know, for that, the one of the players lost, and she lost. This uneducated for Black people is seeming like more and more. So that's how I take that as well. So I misunderstood about it in terms of a simple misdemeanor, no insurance, no registration, or whatever it was, into all this. And this is the consequence you're going to have to do, right? I believe he was contemptuous. I believe he disrespected the court. I believe he was being monitored. So I Um, uh, I feel you intended to do that, and I don't feel that you can't because you were sick. That was the first time to hear you.
And speak directly to the judge with a very different tone. Instead of arguing, he apologizes for the asking for leniency, hoping the clerk will recognize genuine remorse. But the judge carefully revisits every decision made during the original hearing and explains why he believes the disrespect went far beyond simple frustration. Now the courtroom reaches its most emotional moment, with the final outcome hanging in the balance.
So that's it. I can give you the information that he gave the court on that day as a way, but everything was either not valid at the time or time to get it. We do it constant.
I understand.
All right, so I'll consider reduction, but I'm not, he's gonna go to jail.
I understand, Judge.
So you can, Ms. Barkovich, I'll pass the matter. You can go ahead about today, see if I can. I've heard your on the decision.
Appreciate the court's consideration.
I'm sorry, Judge, did you say my name?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and review the dates for your client.
Thank you so much, Judge.
So, like I said, we'll probably be out tomorrow. But, I appreciate your argument on that, rates. I don't think. No, that's, if you, I can put on the record, when we get the file, I'll mark it down, but that, then, it's your, very good, it's your right.
Thank you, Judge. He sincerely appreciates that.
I'm sure he does.
I understand. Thank you.
And Goodman, unfortunately, reaches its final decision, listening to every argument. Charles makes it clear that cannot be ignored. At the same time, he acknowledges the apology and his attorney's efforts, rather than enforcing the original 30-day sentence. The judge it's a reminder that accountability and mercy can exist together. If you enjoyed this courtroom break, subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll see you in the next video.
Is it like, what is it? It's like a collection, isn't it, buddy? You're uneducated judge. I'm gonna hold it up, okay? And we're gonna give you some jail time, okay?
There.
Good, Joshua Blumen. Joshua Paul Blumen. He was on the eyeball, maybe he's gone, most of these years. Third, you want to cry. Yeah, Mr. Blumen. This is the Detroit versus Joshua Paul Blumen, case number SP1411448. Counts 1, 2, and 3. Appearance for record, please. Elwood F. Berry Jr. on behalf of the defendant. State your name, Mr. Goodman. Joshua Paul Blumen. I warn the officer. For purposes of agreement, we would waive the reading of the information and stand. $0 bonds. Hold on a second, no valid registration, never required plates, no insurance misdemeanor, do you have documents? Here's the registration. Hold on, let's see what you have. 1/7/20, that's expired. Pretty slow, but don't, like, it's all parts. Got to think of it. He got the difference. Insured right after, but I sold the truck.
You said sure.
Pick up on your name, sir? Now? Yeah, I do. Let's see what you have for that vehicle, registration and insurance. Okay, I have my progressive, but I have. You wanna send me, you wanna send it to my email address, sir? Sure. I'm gonna put my email address in the chat. Sure. Let's pass the matter to Mr. Gould, get those documentations to us. I just filled over the proof that it is my insurance policy and. All right, let's go back on the record, Mr. Goulden. I have a insurance policy. It's my wife and me. Right, Mr. I have an insurance policy here. Okay. Oh, God. You cannot be serious. Not I'm surprised I'm not getting the same courtesy as the others. This is belonging. I'm spending the same courtesy. All I want you to do is give me some proper documentation and show me some. Truck is it got stolen from me at gunpoint. Insurance paid me off for the truck. Okay, I just not the policy. Stop that! I showed you. Try to say, let me take a really to me. Not, we're not gonna talk like this. I'm gonna talk and you're gonna listen. And I'm gonna give you an opportunity to talk. All right? So first of all, don't accuse me of not giving you the same courtesy as everybody else. Because that's absolutely not true. You don't have to dismiss these cases just because you said you had insurance. I can send you straight to trial or make it or not make you take a deal. I can't make you do anything, but I'm trying to give you an opportunity to show me valid documentation, okay? I'm trying to. And I don't see what I told you is I don't see a date for this insurance policy that you sent me. All right, I'm going to show you this registration that I had on the Ram, and you will see what day the ticket was issued and what day this registration will be insured to receive the tickets. Just show me the insurance policy, the portion of the policy. Thanks. You show me that 1/7/2024. You're asking to see about what? About what? See, it ain't on your insurance policy. You gave me an insurance policy. I had that, but there's no date on it. All right. I'm trying to get this dismissed. This is. Thanks for no, I cleared anybody. I'm not getting the same courtesy. Your name is Sean Perkins? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Mr. Gubin,
I don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear the blabby. Just stop talking to me.
well, I was just gonna ask, did you wanna go in a breakout room?
What's a breakout room? I showed all my proof. I showed all the proof. I showed the proof, Mr. Sean Perkins. What is it? Is it like, what is it? Like the complexion, isn't it, buddy? Mr. Uneducated judge. Have a good day, Mr. Keep on our time. We're gonna hold you to consent, okay? And we're gonna give you some jail time, okay? You done? Anything else? Are you done? You understand? Hold on, I guess. You can explain how to do it, right? Do you have an accident? Do you have an accident? Do you have an accident? Right? Hearing. Station that I went to and it's my top three bodies and okay, we're not talking anymore, all right? We're done talking. That's right. Okay, explain comments here.
Yes, Judge, good morning.
Yeah, not sure. And today, if you have not shown, you're not there. It's nothing really to talk about with Mr. Gubin. I told him to come in. Last year. And yeah, I see him hold up a child as a child.
Stand that may be the court's position, as it relates to this matter. May I have just 1 second? I apologize, Judge. I needed to plug my computer in. So I understand that may be the court's position. I just got retained on this matter this morning. I was not present at the hearing where you apparently held him in contempt. He obviously has an opportunity to prepare and present a defense to the allegation. I'm not sure if the court made a finding as to whether or not this was civil or criminal contempt, and further whether the court actually determined whether it was direct or indirect contempt. Obviously, the court's ability to sanction an individual, especially with a deferred sanction, may be limited under these circumstances. So what I'd be asking the court to consider doing is giving me a brief adjournment so that I may obtain a copy of the transcript of the last hearing. And I would just cite to case law, which indicates that my client does have the ability to obtain an accurate transcript of the hearing as a matter of due process. And when we come back, I will be prepared to effectively, properly address this matter.
Well, Tim was, Tim was, right on the record, on the record, and I do have, you can get the record for that. It was, I did criminal contempt, that's why I said, told him 30 days Wayne I'm in jail. And from my understanding, the court he had his opportunity to contest that. This long sale, standing on the court, this was done over a year ago. And the only reason that it's open is combating for me is because he got some other cases. Is he let the tickets go on the warrant status? He only is before me because he got the other cases. So I still need his presence here. I'm going to readjust his bond now.
Your Honor.
So he continued that, I let you speak, Counselor, and, I'll let you do what you need to do with your job, but. And, City of Detroit versus Joshua Lubin, case numbers SD 1411481 SP 166967331.
Yes, good morning, Camilla Berkovic, appearing on behalf of the defendant who is present.
Your Honor, Rami Hijazi, P82830 on behalf of the defendant as well, Your Honor. Okay. So, you can make the record now, as far as which you want, to be the counsels to be watching this one. This day. We'll call the date and time, it's warrants out to Mr. Wood's arrest. She was the last. Mr. Jazzy was here last week when when he did here. Was it's very she was on that day. He was here last year. The allegations were made on December the 7th, 2022. Mr. Rubin was arraigned on those matters. On February 29th, 2024. Specifically for register of action to reflect all the other necessary updates that were had. But Mr. Newman has shown that he does not comply with the court's orders as far as appearing before the court. Mr. Newman has shown that he is very, very contentious. It's not something that I except for one other time. And Mr. Rubin, I gave him a week for last week to get some very good job. And just so
I'd be articulating some of this to the court off the record, but I was just retained to represent Mr. Gubin in this matter this morning. I am asking for an adjournment of today's hearing so that I may obtain a copy of the transcript of the hearing that was held where you apparently, Mr. Gubin, in contempt. He does have a right to counsel in any contempt situation in it. Process right to obtain an accurate transcript of the hearing. I would like to obviously I'm asking that you take no action today and give me the opportunity that I am requesting on behalf of my client. And if you might need to happy to do that as well. Thank you. Your Honor, it is my understanding that clear traffic matters are pending before the court, at least one civil infraction, and I believe a no insurance misdemeanor. These incidents date back to 2022 based on my review of the register of actions. He has appeared in connection with this matter, which the court has noted. You may have recognized him. But the point of the matter is, I know Mr. Gibbon came out, his appears as required and as insured. I understand that the court may have a difference of opinion as it relates to them, but I get it tested again. They join workers in Brexit. He has extremely strong family support. He is a father. He has minor children, actually, one of which is visible on the Zoom as we currently sit here. He owns his own business in Wayne County and operates that business very successfully. I think when you consider factors that are relevant to a bond inquiry and are not relevant to collateral matters such as prior actions engaged in allegedly before the court, personal bond is warranted, and it's my understanding that that is what may have been previously entered in connection with this case. Upon conviction, but the only misdemeanor with which he presently stands charged, his maximum sentencing exposure is minimal. He is obviously presumed innocent at this point in time. And for all of those reasons, Judge, in addition to other reasons, such as his lack of any Singapore statement or different, I believe a personal is warranted, and retaliation for under any circumstance.
The bond's gonna be set at $2,500 cash. And I still think that the order of Mr. Goodwin still showing up because despite what you articulated on the record, this bond, which I have he put the warrant out for Mr. Goodwin's arrest a long time ago. He's supposed to be in person here today. He's not. He also has a sticking battery case. He has the warrant out for his arrest here as well. So he showed the court of the courthouse that he had here. And it's still work that would show up in person support for the conviction hearing, and we will address that. I think that you're going to keep the matters, but if that's what your client chooses.
I have a comment as it relates to a cash bond. I'm asking that the court impose a cash or surety bond. My interpretation of the court rules as it relates to bond and statutory authority allow the defendant to elect whether he posts a surety or posts a cash bond. And my position is the court cannot outright prohibit a surety. So I'd ask for the addition of a surety clause.
Or is like going counselor can take it to a higher authority.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, who's next?
Yeah, good morning, Camilla Barber, the Keith, the page, tutoring on behalf of Mr. God with the first president.
And the more this section, I get aware of this, more than y'all should be. I think time set for a pre-trial. I do have an offer here.
Hold on, big stack of them.
The thing around now. Scratch. It's possible through pieces. Pretty cool. Limited access 1 to 5 of speedings. And as charged, I was thinking of improper equipment.
That is correct, Judge.
Whatever matter starts to use this, right?
That's accurate.
You want to take a deal, Mr. Hinton? Yes, Sean. Please. Face of the ticket as an act of fact on the basis for that responsibility. Find your client responsible for the just by the speeding basis situation. And as charged to the improper activity.
Thank you.
$125 for the limited tax. $8 in the speeding ticket already, the warrant fees.
Thank you, Judge.
And if you look at any reinstatement. anything further, we're gonna take a meeting just.
To ask that you respectfully reconsider your position. Review the record of the hearing in question. I understand that my client's conduct may have been disrespectful by the court. A lot of time has passed since that's heard that's no justification. I think it's important for you to know the circumstances under which his actions occurred. So fortunately, I'm kind of suffering from the flu extremely bad that day. He remained on Zoom for an extended period of time in the test. You know, simply it's great. It's great. You bring this carbon six socket, it's really service, yes, this is dying and camper. Again, it is no excuse for its actions towards the poor. You obviously don't know Mr. Goodman, you probably never will. Known for an extended period of time, he is not who this court may think he is. He's been respectful in addressing all of his obligations. He's 27 years old. He does not have any substantial criminal history. He owns and operates his own business, specifically a gas station. His wife doesn't work, he's the sole provider for his family. But if you would consider not imposing a jail sentence at this time, and maybe imposing an alternate sanction, which the court has authority to do, such as a fine, or anything else that is court deems appropriate, such as community service, my client will gladly except that I do know that he wishes to make his statement directly to this court, and I'll allow him to do that at the present time if court would permit.
So let me say this. I appreciate your hard limit to deal with that at the time. I went over and I exercise utmost restraint in this the blatant disrespect of its protected privilege. See, into the kind of persons. Sure. So that's like looks at that as sort of like a dinner. You know, we allow people at work, we allow people at home who are sick. I didn't know this. It's just well, being sick and you know, absolutely. Again, but that's something I think. As to offer individuals an opportunity to continue that. I know that. Stephen Howard, documentation at the time was it doesn't have to take that extent in dismissing the case because it's bringing proper documentation now. Here is the court's view of Mr. Goodman's actions is that Mr. Goodman was trying to deceive and perpetrate fraud. Mr. Goodman was given multiple times showing proper documentation. And we take it and we look at it on the screen. So he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to sit. He said in the first document, it wasn't valid. I said, Mr. Goodman, he indicated to the court that at first he indicated he got the truck, but he sold the truck. That was his first argument about what happened. I said, do you have a truck? He says, yes, I do. Then he emails the court the document, which I'll find in that's a document that shows that sheet of insurance. And it's on the record. And I estimated this something thing. And he proceeds to show me another document that doesn't have his name on it, anything. And I'm going to brought that up. And then that's what they went to the court. think Mr. Equin's actions had anything to do with him being sick that day. I don't know whether he was sick or not. And again, I don't with the court and tell me, I swear that that was his other argument. First, he stole that from me. Then the stairs try to step in and try to take the thing, calm the situation down. Mr. Goodwin was not trying to hear that. And then Mr. Goodwin goes all the way and puts race into the argument that is because his complexion, I am the way I am, and I'm going to have the way to go. Which is absolutely not the case. And I still was exercising restraint. And I didn't mean it. He calls me uneducated, he starts trolling and things like that. So that's why we're here, where they can do this kind of huge loss. You know, so that's why we're here. Furthermore, this happened in February of 2024, February 29, 2020. Mr. Goodwin has ample opportunity to come to the court and try and rectify or bring it in. Mr. Goodwin posts a contempt sanction on him before he left the court. The only reason he's standing here now is because he got more tickets. I told him to show up in person multiple times before he hired you, Mr. Barkovich, and he disobeyed. So at this point, the only sanction that I think is going to get to Mr. Goodwin is child jail.
Your Honor, may I respond to some of your commentary? I'm not here to quibble with you, but that was something I needed to discuss with Mr. Goodwin once I actually became privy to the transcript, the inconsistencies with his representations to the court. I will tell you that I have received information that both statements he made to the court with respect to the vehicle were in fact allegedly true, in the sense that his vehicle was stolen. He apparently has a police report depicting that it in fact was stolen under the circumstances he represented. The vehicle was allegedly then recovered, returned to him, and then he subsequently sold it. So you can understand why the court thinks he attempted to retrieve it because he advanced seemingly yes, application of points. I'm not sure that makes a difference to this court, but it does that have an opportunity to present that to the court. I understand my client made some statements, which not didn't advance till the next student. We all know it's human beings any time they're not feeling well, we become more zorny or, less tolerable. So he apologizes sincerely. He has remedied all issues as it relates to his license. He actually has a bad driver. He's had a registered.
Absolutely. How do you do this? Jake, I should have all this stuff you had.
Yes,
There's long white ones left. Does that mean that? Or maybe I don't. You should see the top and bottom.
You don't have to call
For 30 of them, how many do I have here? I may have done too many, but it's okay. Even if I have one. No, that won't be cool. I don't think I've done it. One, two, three, four. Maybe 5 or 6. Some more moments. Although I could use these, I don't know how to sew all of them together. Like so white. That'd be ridiculous. But that might. What I have here. Let's get that. And all of let's get the text. At least one. One with the middle. You go here. One go here. Take all of that middle. Three. Two. So yeah.
We all have insurance policies, so we know their products. And I have a base three of them. And I'm attention.
I need some of these cuts.
That
And these, yeah, for this. I think I'll do them tomorrow. It's gonna be very pretty.
what you say is sickness and uneducated racial. You know, I don't.
The only reason I'm doing this amount because payment is due. And I want to show them what I have so far. I'm cutting. Because and the payment is due. I want to show
Say that.
that.
I wasn't used to buying a simple misdemeanor, no insurance, no registration, or waiting.
I'm actually gonna do two of these at the same time. Do everything in twos or threes. One. This is I have another group of things. I'm thinking about one that's on the mouth crossing with black female. The background color. And these light bright colors. What is that? Come on. Let's see what.
Stand on it. So, officer reduction.
Black is the background and
Oh, you can just start this off.
white was orange. But I'm really thinking about just doing black background. Black background. Very colorful. Yeah, like you said, black. It's colorful.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Okay, I'm gonna put this away for now.
Appreciate your arguing now.
These when I finish with these blocks will be 13 inches wide. And so and at 13 inches, it's going to be easy to put the quilt together. So yes.
Judge, he sincerely appreciates that.
I'm sure he does.
And thank you for your time today.
I'm not sure that I already.
Thank you.
We'll be working on this week. I have to do some more. I don't know. The white strips.
Hear that? That's it. Every school has its stories. All bad designs here. You don't know. Custom designs, no school. You don't design it. You hear that? That's it.
And I think I didn't have to cut these. So yeah. So these gotta get cut. These should be 10 inches I'll cut them in five by five.
There's dramatic new reporting about a clash between the president and his Secretary of Defense. The Washington Post reporting Trump and Pete Hegseth butted heads over munitions shortages that now threaten to limit military options with Iran. That's two sources familiar telling the Post Trump thought that problem had been fixed. The White House and Pentagon are pushing back on this reporting, and in a late-night social media post, the president argued, quote, "The U.S. has massive amounts of munitions and that more were being manufactured and shipped." At the same time, he's calling those stories fake. He's slamming, quote, leakers of what he called treasonous statements, saying the sources of those leaks will be hunted down and deserve long-term jail sentences. Tom Nichols and Tim O'Brien are back with us. Tom, the administration has pushed back on this WAPO reporting, but does the X reveal more about the difficulty that they're facing in trying to wrap their arms around this war that they are clearly struggling to find an end to?
They're struggling because they're losing, and it's interesting that the president's position is this is completely fake, but also a dangerously treasonous leak of something that is obviously true. So the problem here is that they think that just executing operations over and over and over again will somehow produce the result they want, even though for 5 months that hasn't been the case. And so we're using up stocks of very expensive weapons that were never meant for this kind of a war, of knocking down cheap drones that we were saving for places like Europe and Asia. And I think the most important part of that story is Hegseth being very Trump-like and trying to throw his own deputy under the bus about why this is happening. The deputy Secretary of Defense usually runs the Pentagon on a day-to-day basis. Knowing this stuff is the Secretary of Defense's job, but because they don't have a strategy, they don't know what they're doing, they're obviously losing this war. The infighting has begun, and the bickering is now going to spill out into the public, as sometimes happens in cases like this.
Yeah, because it's not just the fact that there might be a munitions shortage, which frankly is not a secret, has been talked about on the Hill, has been true since the early part of sending aid to Ukraine. It's been an active conversation in military circles, but then also during testimonies on the Hill from relevant cabinet officials over the course of the last few years, including Hegseth in recent months. But it's the issue of the fact that Hegseth may have misled the president, and that might be why he's casting blame on his deputy. But Tim, I'm wondering if this just shifts the spotlight onto Hegseth, because there have been moments where people on the Hill have been clear, Tom Tillis included, that say, I regret my vote to confirm him for various reasons, but he has also been one of the people who has continued driving home the same points about continued aggression in Iran and somehow that bringing different results, just like Trump. And I'm wondering if this administration starts looking for someone to eventually throw under the bus, does it end up being Hegseth?
Of course, that's a possibility. Of course, it's exactly what Trump is thinking. Because two things are problematic here, and whichever one they are, we don't know yet. But either Hegseth gave Trump the accurate information that U.S. munitions are perilously low, and Trump chose to ignore it, or Hegseth misled the president because he didn't want to deliver bad news. And this gets back to what Tom and I were kicking around in the prior block, that this is either a Soviet structure or a Tsarist structure. The reality is, people in Trump's inner circle are telling him what he wants to hear about this meeting. But in this case, it has really, really dramatic real-world consequences. They have wasted a treasure trove of the U.S. government in Ukraine, which now is so low on interceptors that they can't defend themselves against incoming Soviet weapon attacks. They've moved their diagnostic system from Korea into the Middle East, and that leaves our allies in East Asia exposed to Chinese aggressions. All of the knockoff effects of this misguided, ignorant policy that was done simply because Donald Trump took Bibi Netanyahu out of the word and then pursued a war in which we lost American lives, we spent American money, we blew through American munitions, and we're stuck.
Yeah, right, because the exit ramp is the thing that they are struggling with the most. And the other person who initially was one of the voices saying, hey, we might not want to do this for a whole number of reasons, including the fact that one of the central tenets of being America first, as Trump campaigned on it, was not beginning new foreign entanglements or wars. And that's exactly where they are right now. I'm talking, of course, about Vice President Vance, who has been the face of talks with Iran. And the president, and who President Trump has said, joking, maybe not, that he'll blame Vance if there isn't a good deal. I want to put some of what Vance told Fox News just last night.
We're gonna get those prices way down. Slash your prices. Bring down the prices.
He promised to lower prices, and so far, he hasn't delivered. Today, you're paying many tickets. Bills, groceries, plane tickets. This summer, it feels like everything costs more. You're not imagining Trump's decisions to raise food prices. Which cost households thousands of dollars. He started a war in the Middle East that has sent gas prices skyrocket. He cut taxes for billionaires and raised healthcare premiums for millions of So, listen, at the end of the day, Trump's a billionaire who doesn't understand what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? Truth is, Trump is making the world expensive. Summer at ShockSummer.org.
A good deal. I want to play some of what Vance told Fox News just last night.
You have people who will attack what the president of the United States has said, but they don't want to use his name because they know that the president of the United States is too big a fish for them. So they'll come after me or they'll come after the administration. That's my job, Laura. And if the worst thing that happens over the next couple of years is that I take some flack for the president in order to make his administration more successful, I think he'll be happy about that.
I mean, Tom, that is his job as vice president. That's true for other vice presidents as well. But there's a step further here, too, right? The way that Vance, who was against this privately, has now really been pushed into the spotlight to be the person defending it continuously.
Well, two things. One is, there isn't anybody in Trump's orbit who hasn't had to mortgage their soul for pennies on the dollar at this point, no matter what they may have believed or said or once claimed to believe. They've had to put it all on the altar of Donald Trump's ego. But the other part of this is, it's the vice president's job to take heat. A trade deal goes bad, inflation goes up. Normally, you don't want to see the president and the vice president that far apart during a war. You didn't want to see, George W. Bush turning to Dick Cheney and saying, well, if it goes wrong, I'm going to blame him. You didn't want to see, Ronald Reagan in Grenada saying, well, if this thing gets hairy, talk to George Bush. It's one thing for vice presidents to be a heat shield for unpopular policies. It's another thing to have this kind of division in the Oval Office during a war where American lives are at risk.
I think that's a great point. And then you layer on top of it the idea that for Vance, this is something he will have to carry with him, whatever his future aspirations are, including but not limited to potentially being president.
And he's trying to keep both of those doors open at the same time. He clearly wants to run. He clearly knows he can't alienate Trump. So savage during the primaries, even if he can make it to the general election, which he probably can't without Trump's support in 2028. Precisely the common thing is really ridiculous system. populated by zombies, given up their independence, and in their own time, this is their Trump.
At a point where the Iran war, politically speaking, nothing to say the economic pressure, but politically, popular thing, the thing Republican strategists continue saying to me is the thing they are the most worried about as the midterm elections. Michael, I want to thank you for spending time with us. Joining us now, MS Now Senior National Security Reporter David Rode, former Assistant Special Agent in charge at the FBI, and MS Now National Security and Intelligence Analyst Michael Kleinberg, and Senior Fellow for Middle East and Africa Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations, Stephen Cook, and host of the Independent Americans podcast and founder and CEO of Independent Veterans of America, Paul Reichoff. Paul always has to sit next to me. That's just how this goes. David, I'll start with you. Let's take the first part of President Trump's post. He's claiming that we have massive amounts of munitions and more are being manufactured. We've seen Reuters report that the U.S. has indeed signed a more than $3 billion deal with major weapons manufacturers to ramp up production of the Patriot and the THAAD interceptor parts. Where's the truth here, though? Where does our defensive weapons cache currently stand?
It's depleted. It's not empty, but it's depleted. And it takes time for these kind of missiles to be made, the Patriots in particular. But the Trump administration has had time to plan for what was going to play out when they chose to go to war with Iran. So this is no surprise. And I think it's good. I'm biased as a journalist, but in terms of the last part of the tweet, that this is somehow treasonous, 50,000 Americans are risking their lives right now for this country in the Persian Gulf. If they do not have the weapons they need to defend themselves, if our job as journalists, if we have credible sources, to report that. And so it's astonishing to me that the president of the United States is saying whoever leaked this is guilty of treason and that they should be hunted down and get a long jail sentence. These service members deserve proper weapons.
To David's point, Paul, hunted down the sources of this. How can you hunt down quote unquote leakers or sources if you're not really denying the underpinning of what they've leaked?
Bingo. Yeah, I mean, if what they're saying is false, why is he trying to hunt them down? I think the bigger picture here is that the world is sick of Hegseth and his crap. And the country is sick of his crap, and the military is sick of his crap. And I think Trump's starting to get sick of his crap. And his misstatements, his false truths, his lies, and his inability to report accurately what's happening on the ground and to include our stockpiles. So I think Pete Hegseth has always been on stable footing, supposedly, and they keep reiterating that, which means he may be soon seeing the underside of a bus pretty soon. This is not going well. And Trump is not good at taking responsibility for himself. Hegseth did not take responsibility himself. He blamed a subordinate, which is the failure of leadership again. But someone's going to have to be held accountable here, and Trump usually looks for a scapegoat.
Michael, if sources close to the president were privy to those discussions at Camp David and they're expressing these concerns about the depletion of our stockpile to the media, as David says, what does that signal to you?
Brings nothing without drill. Is secondary to safety. The essence of driving is keeping momentum and responding with precision. The essence of driving is often.
What does that signal to you?
It signals a few things to me, and I want to be clear. I was a national security investigator for most of my lifetime. I probably have a different opinion on how media leaks should be investigated than many.
Tell us about it.
Now. Well, I mean, in general, I think there is a national security interest in protecting certain secret information from the public if that information could be used by our adversaries against us. But in this case, my main takeaway is something totally different. And my main takeaway is that if an administration as riddled with ideological loyalists as this is still leaking, that tells us that the situation is probably far more alarming than we actually realize. The difference between Trump 2 and Trump 1 is that there are no grown-ups this time who are taking their jobs out of a sense of obligation to be the adult. Everybody knows what working for Trump is like at this point. And so the people who are going to work with him are not doing so out of a sense of patriotism or noblesse oblige or public service. They're doing it because they idolize the person who has become the personalist incarnation of the Republican Party. So if they're willing to leak what is going on behind closed doors, that really tells you something that something has gone off.
Yeah, I think that's a point well taken. David, the Joint Chiefs Chair, Dan Kane, had warned about munition shortages even before this war began. According to the Washington Post, were those warnings essentially ignored? How serious were they back then, and compare it to now?
Yeah, the shortage of these munitions and how much they cost has been known for months, if not years. Well, right when the war started, we were reporting also on these warnings from Kane. So again, this goes back to the president and also Secretary Hegseth. When you decide to go launch a major war like this, you have to consider worst case scenarios. And there's no question that what has happened is by far the worst case scenario and something the White House didn't anticipate, but it's their job to anticipate it. So they used huge amounts of weapons and different kinds of advanced bombs in the first days of the war. There were thousands of them dropped. And now they have a problem. And this is called planning. This is called competence. And they did not think through the worst case scenario. They appear to have been, just overconfident. And now again, service members are now paying the price for poor planning.
And Stephen, of course, there is this global dimension to this. Trump has said that it was our Middle East allies who urged him to call off the so-called major strike that he had been planning on Iran. And the reporting is that that's in large part because of the lack of defensive capabilities to thwart off any kind of retaliation from Iran. How vulnerable are our Middle East allies in the region? And how does that impact the course of the war?
They're quite vulnerable. And we saw from the last round of actual conflict between the United States and Iran that the Kuwaitis, the Bahrainis, the Qataris were hit and hit very hard. And that's because they don't have the interceptors, and the United States doesn't have the interceptors to protect them. The Saudis find themselves under fire from the Houthis again, and thanks only to NATO forces like Greek forces, who on a bilateral basis are in Saudi Arabia to help protect sensitive sites, has the damage in Saudi Arabia not been as devastating as it could be. The other real world consequence of this is, of course, it puts the United States in a relatively weaker negotiating position when it comes to the Iranians. The Iranians know, and America's partners know, that the United States cannot protect them. And so when it comes down to the negotiation, it's more likely for the United States and the other side to accept an agreement that most likely will favor Iran and its demands over having some control over the Strait of Hormuz.
So talk to me, Stephen, about how our adversaries are viewing all of this when you have the telegraphing of the depletion of munitions. To Michael's point, it may be contrary to national security interests that we now know all of this information, but how do forces like Russia and China view this?
Well, of course, since the very beginning of this conflict, and from the moment that the Iranians tried to close the Strait of Hormuz, the Chinese in particular have been paying close attention to how the United States would go about opening a waterway. So this is a very significant challenge, not because we realize the United States. These munitions, if you talk about them as being built in a factory, it's more like workshops. It takes about a year to produce Patriot missile. So this is going to be as studies like the one coming out of the Center for Strategic and International Studies and the leaks coming out of the Pentagon would suggest.
Well, NBC News reports citing two senior officials that U.S. commanders are picking and choosing which Iranian missiles to just let fall. How concerned should that be for military servicemen and women and their families who are watching all of this unfold?
especially considering how many have already gotten wounded and killed American forces. I think when it comes to Trump and Hegseth, you can't believe what they say. You have to watch what they do. And they're asking for $67 billion more. About 20 billion of that is for weapons and for munitions. We know we're using Tomahawks and ATACMS and Patriots, and we need them badly, and our allies need them badly. Meanwhile, Ukraine's getting pummeled, and the civilians there are dying by the day. Women and children are being killed, and they don't have enough munitions. So it's a great example of a misallocation of resources where Trump got way ahead of his skis. He didn't plan adequately. He didn't ask Congress for support, and he didn't ask Congress for enough money to fund what was turned out to be a very protracted war.
Now they're asking for 67 billion more.
Yeah, and
put a fine point on that.
1.5 trillion at the end of the year.
Yeah. Michael, I do want to turn to the New York Times reporting that cites the FBI that there have attacks water systems at least almost a dozen different water systems across the country. There have been years of warning and neglect, according to the New York Times. Are we prepared to counter even a more serious attack than what we've seen on civilian infrastructure, whether it's water or power grids?
I don't think so. I don't think we're remotely prepared. And I want to hasten to add that vulnerability is a choice. For years, if not decades, the private sector industries that make up much of our critical infrastructure have resisted security upgrades and any sort of oversight and regulation because it adds costs to their operations. Good security creates friction. It demands resources. It lessens usability sometime, but it's insurance. And we are now seeing the result of not having insurance. When you compound that with the fact that the Trump administration has decimated an organization called CISA, which traditionally did most of the government side of this type of security, this is entirely expected. And unfortunately, Americans need to realize this is the future of warfare. We have networked everything in our lives, which means it is now vulnerable to cyber attack. And the oceans on either side of our continent are no longer protection against those with whom we would go to war.
Print more flagons during the final days of the Buy More, Save More sale and save up to 20% on your purchase. Or with no interest financing options, you can buy now and pay over time. The Buy More, Save More sale ends soon at Raymore and Flagon.
time frame we were existing under was unacceptable. Okay, well, what this budget does, I mean, months and years, vast years. I mean, we're building new plants in real time.
So just to replace what we extended.
I said months, and then you said years. Well, it depends on the weapon system, but 2 to 3, 4x of what we have today. So yes, we're dealing with the reality under the previous administration of what they sent to Ukraine and what they allocated elsewhere.
Got it? Hi again, everybody. It's at 5:00 at night. That was the mealy-mouthed, contradictory testimony of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth back in April. He did say in there, though, that it would take months and years, months and years, to replenish U.S. weapons stockpiles. Very troubling fact, considering our ongoing war with Iran and Donald Trump's pendulum for escalating over and over again. A few months later, when asked about it, Hegseth grew combative and said a munitions shortage was a story manufactured by the media. As the war continues, there's a growing number of questions about our stockpiles. And at times, Pete Hegseth and others in the Trump administration have blamed former President Joe Biden for sending weapons to Ukraine. In fact, Donald Trump sent weapons to Ukraine in the last hour with the cameras rolling. But behind the scenes, it is a different story. According to brand new reporting in the Washington Post, Donald Trump confronted Pete Hegseth about the country's supply of munitions very recently. From that report, quote, Trump's frustration over the Iran war boiled over at Camp David last week, where he demanded answers from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on why he had apparently been misled on extreme munitions shortages that now threaten to limit military options with Iran. That is according to two people familiar with that exchange. Quote, the encounter took place on the sidelines of his cabinet meeting at Camp David on Friday, where Trump vented at Hegseth that he thought the munitions issue, quote, had been fixed, according to both people familiar with the conversation who spoke anonymously due to fear of retaliation. The White House immediately denied the reporting. And last night in a post on social media that was posted at 12:34 a.m., Donald Trump denied it as well. The only problem in denying it, he also attempted to refute the reporting and kind of sort of ended up confirming it. The post reads in part, quote, the U.S. has massive amounts of munitions, especially of certain types. Additionally, large amounts are being manufactured and shipped to the U.S. as needed. The leakers of these treasonous statements are being hunted down. Long-term jail sentences will be sought. The funny thing is, if any of this is funny, if you're going to prosecute someone for a leak, that generally means the information that is in the paper is so true that it's dangerous, because lies are not punishable with jail time. Donald Trump revealing the accuracy of reporting while trying to deny it and jail the people at the same time is where we begin the hour with some of our favorite experts and friends. Military analyst, retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling is here. He served as the commanding general of the U.S. Army in Europe. Also joining us, managing editor of The Bulwark, contributor Sam Stein is here, and writer and editor for Protect Democracy, Amanda Carpenter is here. General Hertling, your thoughts on the, I guess now confirmed by Donald Trump, reporting that he blew up at Pete Hegseth in this Camp David cabinet meeting.
Nicole, the entire Washington Post story was fascinating because it confirms what a lot of people have been thinking for the last several months. I mean, Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, has stood before not only Congress, but the American people on multiple occasions and talked about how the U.S. military has conducted 14,000 strikes against Iran. Now, those strikes come from somewhere. And we also have heard Mr. Netanyahu talking about that Israel has intercepted over 1,400 either drones or missiles coming toward Israel, which means there are a lot more drones and missiles going to places like Jordan and UAE and Qatar. And when you have drones and missiles going into different countries, you intercept them with very expensive weapon systems like the Patriot and the THAAD interceptors. Those are two very expensive missiles. The Patriot costs about $5 million per missile. Cost about $12 million per missile. Additionally, if you're conducting 14,000 strikes, as Mr. Hegseth has said, you're usually using Army ATACMS missiles with 300-mile range, and also the PRISM missiles, which the Army has over 300 miles range, along with the aircraft. Those are very expensive missiles as well. Both of them over $2 million a piece. So when you're talking about the kinds of things they're now refuting, it's not just a depletion of ammunition, it's also a depletion of credibility. Because you can't conduct all these strikes, which they're bragging about, and at the same time say that a very limited supply of missiles are still available. Plus, the last thing that we'll talk about is Secretary Hegseth, during that congressional hearing, said that we were building factories by the month or years, like you just stated. But the problem is with that, it takes a long time to build factories, and it takes an even longer time to build these very precise weapon systems that come out of the factories. So you can't just fix it, as the president said when he allegedly asked Mr. Hegseth about this. It's not something that can be recovered. This is a long-term problem, and the military's been facing it. And we've also heard, I'll just add one more thing, a combatant commander in the Pacific region saying he was concerned about being able to execute his contingency plans because they were moving things like THAAD launchers from Korea, but also the missiles to the Middle East from his area of operation. So I'm just using battlefield math and battlefield common sense in terms of some of these weapon systems, and the stories don't add up.
You hear that? That's Saturday. Saturday is hugging strength and raise your colors. Then it's losing your voice singing a fight song. It's the sizzling of the grill at the tail end because the full prayers work the game on the line. Every school has this sword. All back, Zion's gear that tells north. Custom designs for your screen. You don't put Saturday. You hear that? That's Saturday.
I was already an executive, but Johns Hopkins Carey Business School really helped me to see other ways to be a leader. 6 months after finishing school, I was offered chief operating officer position. That's Carey.
The weapon systems and the stories don't add up.
Well, I want to, that was my job to bolster the Washington Post reporting, but it's not the first time we heard about the limited supply of munitions. I want to just share some reporting from February, also in the Washington Post. Trump's top general foresees acute risks in an attack on Iran. Quote, General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, expressed his concerns at a White House meeting last week with Trump and his top aides, these people said, cautioning that any major operation against Iran will face challenges because the U.S. munitions stockpile has been significantly depleted by Washington's ongoing defense of Israel and support for Ukraine. Kane's remarks at the White House meeting have not been previously reported. That's from February. So this starts, General Hertling, with the top general's concern about limited supply, and then runs a course of Trump's erratic announced escalations, seemingly not attached to a military or diplomatic strategy for winning the war in Iran. What do you think has been since February when there was already concern? And just explain a little bit more why the widening of the war and Iran's penchant for striking our allies in the region means that we have to spread more of these interceptors and munitions to our allies to protect them as well.
Yeah, we put air defense systems in countries like Jordan, Oman, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. So each one of them has a system, either the THAAD or the Patriot, which the military classifies as high demand, low density, which means everybody wants one, but there's not enough to go around. You know, the 4 soldiers that were killed in Jordan last month were all a couple of weeks ago, were all air defenders. 2 of them, the 2 males, were from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The 2 females were from Ansbach, Germany. That tells me that you can get air defense systems away from other locations where they normally are to protect these allied nations. When you protect them, you're shooting rockets against drones and cruise missiles that are coming in. The last thing I'll say, Nicole, that's important, you just brought up back in February, this was mentioned. That's the first time a lot of people understood it, but I've been watching it for a lot longer than that and been concerned about it. I'm even an honor to be a member of the Joint Staff as a principal for 2 years. On the Joint Staff, there's also someone who counts missiles and how many they're going out, a 3-star general, the J4, the J8 who talks about acquisitions, the J3 that looks at operations, and the J5 that looks at strategic resourcing. All 3-star generals, all reporting directly to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, who tells the Secretary of Defense and the President what's going on. If that wasn't happening back then, it's either the fault of General Kane or the fact that Secretary Hegseth did not understand what was happening and didn't tell the president, or the fact that the president wasn't listening. So there may be multiple failures in the whole supply chain. And I'll just say one more thing, that logistics determines the art of the possible in warfare. When you don't have the logistics, when you don't have the ammunition, you can't do the things that you want to do.
When it comes to the war with Iran, we've gotten plenty of rosy proclamations, finger pointing, and flat out lies from the Trump administration. But folks, these past few days have really been something else. On Tuesday, Reuters published this headline: the U.S. has used virtually all of its long-range precision missiles during Iran war. Publicly, the Trump administration has tried to downplay it, but privately, they're saying something else. The Washington Post reports that last Friday, Trump demanded answers from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth about why he had apparently been misled about extremely useless reporting. And Hegseth, the testosterone-touting man that he is, defended himself by doing what we've seen him do before, blame someone else. Hegseth reportedly blamed his deputy for the shortages and for not making sure Trump was fully informed. Now, today, Trump insists that there's no problem at all. No munitions issue at all. No beef with Hegseth at all. But despite all of that, nothing to see here, all of that, there's nothing going on. Today, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Trump has ordered new investigations into the disclosures of the Pentagon's munitions stockpile. Joining me now is New York Democratic Councilman Pat Ryan. He's a member of the House Armed Services Committee and an Army veteran who served 2 tours in Iraq. It's good to see you, sir. So Trump apparently believes he's been misled on the munitions shortages. Do you buy that?
He is so out of touch, out of reality. I think they feed him a slow diet of missile strike video clips, and then he goes back to whatever other distraction. And it would be humorous if not for the fact that we've got 50,000 troops in the region, and we've lost 18 soldiers. Every American is paying the price. Gas is back up over $4. And it is infuriating, especially to those of us that have served in the last generation's forever wars, to see us now 6 months into what was supposed to be a 6-week war, and they won't even be honest about state of our munitions. And by the way, they're still covering up casualties. They're not even attributing these last 4 brave Americans lost in combat to this war. It is just beyond the pale.
From your perch on the Armed Services Committee, can this stockpile be finished up? Everybody's out there. There must be something very serious happening with them. I don't know what you're hearing. Maybe you can share specifically some of the details of that. But is it really that bad?
This is back on us every day, taking our health care, housing, gas, and grocery costs out of control. But Nicole Poor's pushing back in Dover, passing bills to build housing and protect health care, because when his back's turned, she's got ours. Travel day. You know how it goes. The long lines, crowded terminals, the gate changes and delays. When did travel lose its magic? There's an easier way. Avello flies from smaller airports closer to home, with nonstop flights at prices that just make sense. Turns out the smart way to travel was more simple than you thought. And if you know, you Avello.
From everything we know, and this has been the case for several months, we knew the burn rate of the munition was incredibly dangerous. Literally in early March, a week into the war, I questioned the senior Pentagon leader about this exact problem, and they just denied the reality that we were hearing from folks on the ground. The problem is we have expended so many munitions in just a few months that it would literally take us a decade plus just to get to the level of interceptors and precision strike missiles, which are incredibly expensive, incredibly slow to produce. That means other adversaries around the world now, particularly China, to a certain degree, Russia, know that we're weak and vulnerable. That makes every American less safe. And look, if you can't even recognize and own and be honest about the problem, how are we expected to fix it? And again, we can't say it enough. This is a grave disservice to our troops in uniform who are now in more danger because of excess complete clown car of a Pentagon that he's running.
Well, given what you just said, Congressman, you've been out there making very clear that there needs to be a full audit of the Pentagon. And so now you've got this administration that's scrambling to replenish munition stockpiles. They're also looking to spend money on things like building 25 nuclear powered battleships, which Trump has called part of his Golden Fleet or Golden Dome missile defense program. what does that say about the priorities of this administration, and what should be the priorities of the United States Congress when it comes to the defense of the nation?
I think what we're seeing in the president's priorities are enriching himself, enriching his buddies that are the CEO of bought huge shares in a bunch of companies that are now making huge profits on this war. While of course we know Trump himself never served, certainly no Trump family members that I know that are signing up to go on this war. It's our young people, working class people that are going to war. So he is 180 degrees off, particularly for somebody who ran on stopping wars. What we need to do is $1 trillion plus defense budget is outrageous when we need to be investing in housing and healthcare, bringing down gas and grocery and utility costs. So we got to get our priorities back straight there. We also need to stop giving tax breaks to billionaires. We have $1 trillion tax break to the ultra wealthy to further add to our deficit in addition to the $1 trillion defense budget. When it comes to the Armed Services Committee, myself and my colleagues in a hopeful majority, which I'm optimistic about, need to immediately have urgent oversight. One, to protect our troops. Two, to get back at the apolitical nature of our military, which Trump has eroded. And three, most importantly, we have to end this war off the funding stream. The bill called the No Funds for Iran War Act would not allow us to spend a single dollar more on this war.
All right. There it is, Congressman Pat Ryan. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. Folks, we'll be right back.
Thanks for having me.
New tonight, MS Now has confirmed that Oman and Iran have come to an agreement, at least the framework of a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That's according to two Middle East diplomats with knowledge of the negotiations. Now, folks, I say framework of a deal because those sources did not tell us specific details of the temporary deal. They also did not share what issues have yet to be resolved. An Iranian government official linked to the deal told MS Now, quote, "It will establish new shipping routes by allowing commercial vessels to enter the Persian Gulf through an Iranian-controlled route and exit through a route controlled by Oman." The agreement, according to the Iranian official, does not include the collection of tolls from commercial shipping vessels seeking safe passage through the waterway, which Iran has previously sought. The proposal is a, quote, temporary agreement that would lay the foundation for Washington and Tehran to call a new ceasefire and resume the nuclear negotiations that began in mid-June, but collapsed after retaliatory strikes by both sides across the region. This comes after Donald Trump spent the day lashing out at the Washington Post for their reporting. Listen to this. They detailed a confrontation between Donald Trump and his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at Camp David just last week. The blow-up was reportedly over the dwindling state of U.S. weapons stockpiles and its impact on Trump's war in Iran. The White House press secretary has denied the Washington Post reporting. The shot there, in an overnight social media post, Trump wrote, "The U.S. has massive amounts of munitions." Munitions is in quotes for some reason. They're not sure why. And that the leakers of these treasonous statements are being hunted down. Long-term jail sentences will be sought. Exclamation point, of course. Then this afternoon, another rambling social media post, Donald Trump accused the Washington Post and others of, quote, spreading false and completely unfounded rumors. Called the Washington Post treasonous. So which one is it? Were the leakers or was the reporting false? It's worth considering that Donald Trump's fury over this may just be the tale. His fury may also be coming from the fact that on day 160 of his war in Iran, it is still unclear exactly where this is all going and will it will end. And it seems that Iran knows that. The current political calendar here in our country is in their favor. According to the Wall Street Journal, Iran's leadership has made a high-stakes calculation in its showdown with President Trump. Maintaining control over the Strait of Hormuz is a non-negotiable red line. With gasoline prices and inflation elevated, Iran believes Trump will ultimately accept its terms ahead of fast-approaching midterm elections that could determine the future of his presidency. The short version, that political pressure is real. Let's listen to what those Trump voters in Ohio told MS Now's Alex Tabbitt earlier this week.
For procurement managers, Granger is the go-to partner that helps keep your healthcare facilities ready for patients. Because there's no time to manage orders and deliveries from multiple suppliers, Granger offers everything in one place, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. All with fast delivery that helps ensure you always have what you need to put patient care first. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you see this war benefiting the United States of America or your life in any way?
No. No, I don't.
Do you see any way in which this war is benefiting your life?
Nope. I don't. I really don't. I don't know what they're fighting over in the first place. Yeah.
Yes, Tom Nichols recently wrote in the article about Donald Trump's inability to navigate seemingly unnecessary war that he started. So many Americans and much of the rest of the world have become inured to Donald Trump's strange rants when he drones on about his brilliant uncle when he casually ponders violating the Constitution. His supporters try to dress his statements up as some kind of strategy. The war in Iran, however, has shown that Trump's inability to perceive reality has become truly dangerous. He led the United States into a disastrous conflict because he thought his gut was smarter than the advisors who warned him that deposing Iran's regime was unlikely. He continues to mislead the American people and perhaps himself about America's strategic defeat at the hands of one of its worst enemies. The world economy and the balance of power have been changed, perhaps for many decades to come. Because Trump cannot draw links between cause and effect, he does not understand that his actions and the failures that follow are somehow related to each other. Joining us now, the man who wrote those words, Tom Nichols, professor emeritus at the U.S. Naval War College and staff writer at the Atlantic. First off, sir, what is your reaction to the news tonight that Iran and Oman have reached an agreement to temporarily open the Strait of Hormuz?
It's just remarkable that for 5 months of war, Iran is going to control Strait of Hormuz, which it didn't before Trump launched this war. It leaves us, the United States, the West, and the rest of the world worse off. And for what? That's the question that we keep asking and have to keep asking about this war. What was all this for? Donald Trump thought he was going to get a quick, easy win, knock over the Iranian regime. And now here we are with Iran basically saying, well, we'll control the strait, but we'll agree to think about whether we're going to collect tolls, which, if you had told anybody that a year ago, it would have seemed almost preposterous, almost impossible.
The Republicans I talked to say the president went to Venezuela, and then he thought he could do that everywhere. I just want to move to your reaction to this Washington Post report. And it gives us a little bit of a glimpse into Pete Hegseth's leadership and the communication, I guess, between him and his boss, Donald Trump. In this case, on the depletion of American missiles, a really important piece of reporting there.
Yeah, it's a mistake to use the words Pete Hegseth and leadership together, especially when your first reaction is to throw your own deputy under the bus and to basically say, well, in a way, what was Hegseth saying? How could I be expected to know this stuff? I'm only the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, as he puts it. It's also, as you pointed out in your earlier reporting, Eugene, that, which is it? Is the president going to pursue people for revealing, dire information, or is the whole thing false? And I think that the anger that you're seeing from the White House and the Pentagon about this says that the reporting is accurate. I would just tell people, you don't need access to classified, deep secrets to figure this out. There are people all over the world who keep track of how many missiles the United States buys, how many it stockpiles, and how many it fires. You can do a lot of this reckoning and calculation from open sources. And I think what you're seeing is that the Post and other outlets are confirming what other people around the world are seeing. And it just shows what a reckless and stupid war this was to just blunder in without a plan or a strategy.
Something that President Trump was reportedly warned about too from his leads there. In your piece for The Atlantic, you wrote about how Donald Trump continues to mislead the American people when it comes to Iran. But is his staff misleading him? Why does he seem confused about these things, or are they equally delusional about this war in Iran?
I think you have two things going on. One is that his staff is terrified of him, and so when he gets wrapped up in this kind of delusional stuff about, oh, we're winning, right? And they show him all this B-roll footage of stuff blowing up. It's everybody around him says, yes, sir, absolutely, you bet, winning. But I also think he knows, and that a lot of what he's saying is just lying. I mean, how many times? I think we're up to something like 40 separate times the president has said, we're on the verge of a deal. The deal's imminent. They want a deal. They're going to make a deal tomorrow. He knows that's not true. He knows it. The people around him know it. Every time the president says we're winning, there are so many lies and misstatements and misleading things the president has said. He has to know. But there's also the problem that Trump does try to kind of manifest reality and wish things into being just by saying them out loud. So I think it's a combination of both, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like wishful thinking and war don't have anything to do with each other. Tom Nichols, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Spread more fun again during the final days of the Buy More, Save More sale and save up 20% on your purchase. Get 10, 15, or 20% off. You're in charge of the savings. The Buy More, Save More sale ends soon at Raymore Plugin.
What's up, everybody? Marcel Reed here, quarterback at A&M, dropping the game day collection of Romac. Wherever you watch the game, they've got you covered. The best designs, best material, they don't make. Be sure to check out the best polos, hoodies, Q-tips, and much more at Romac.com.
Live from London, this has been Vogue Daybreak here. I'm Lizzie Burden with your top stories. No deal on Hormuz. Iran rejects talks with the US and an agreement with Oman remains elusive, pushing oil prices higher once again. Meanwhile, Israel rejects the Trump-backed plan to disarm Hamas, stalling diplomatic progress on the war in Gaza. And Chinese factory gate inflation eases for the first time since the Iran war. And consumer price growth slows, raising deflation concerns as pressure from the energy price shock fades. Well, a very good morning. Happy Monday. Here's where we start the week in markets. Oil, as I say,